What's up, guys? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks for being here, for being subscribed. If you're not, go ahead and hit that button. And if you're listening on YouTube, hit that like button. It's like walking in the room and hitting that light switch. Let's go ahead and brighten up the place and get into this reality chat. I was debating whether I was going to talk about this, but after all of the seasons of Love and Marriage Huntsville, seeing how Hotel, better known as Arion's baby wipe, birth name Martell Holtz, has literally tried to, and sometimes succeeded, but tried to turn people against Melody for no good reason, but just to try to make her out and paint her out to be the bad guy, when we all know that he was the one that single-handedly destroyed his life, not just his marriage, his life, because honestly, that was his life. And it just looks like he's flailing at this point in time. And what's funny to me, I recently talked about Marceau and the fact that he is really afraid of losing Letitia, but it's not for the genuine reasons that a husband should be afraid of losing their wife. But you're only afraid of losing your wife if you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing and you're afraid that they're not going to stick around. But he just really has a lot at stake. He's miserable in the marriage that he's in, but he's pissed off because he sees Melody winning and he really likes her. And I don't say like her in the like of a friendship, but I believe he admires her visually. He finds her extremely appealing. And he knows that she would never have anything to do with a nigga like him. So it angers him to see this woman winning when he has made some really snide comments about her on several occasions on camera. So who knows what he said off camera? We already know it's way, way more, right? About Melody. And he also does not want to see his wife be like Melody, but she never will be. She can't. And I'm not even speaking as someone that has any disdain or hate for Letitia. I'm really indifferent towards her. I don't like a lot of her ways. I think she's a beautiful woman, but she can't even see the beauty in herself. So who am I to try to pull it out of her or make her see it? Melody's tried to show her the way on a number of occasions, and she has instead listened to the tutelage of her husband, who really just wants to be her daddy, and treats her like a child that he is screwing, which is disgusting. But anyway, he would be the one to lead and guide her. Not saying Melody's tried to lead and guide her, but she's definitely tried to attempt to break her out of that shell and see that she's more than just this little housewife that he likes to put women to be in the box of. But anyway, this isn't about that or them. But I was debating whether I was going to talk about this because this happened like a little over a week ago. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to talk about it because it's just stupid. But you know what? Seeing that episode, just seeing how Arion's baby wipe has really attempted to try to paint Melody in this bad light, and seeing even now recently on these episodes of Love and Marriage Huntsville of Stormy really being cold towards Melody, and I don't know why, it really led me to talk about this topic. Now, first, guys, you've heard people say a lot that when people are having issues and it seems like everyone is having an issue with that person, then it can't be everyone else. It must be that person. Now, that can be true, but multiple things can be true at the same time, right? And I believe that Hotel has really tried to play on that to try to and attempt to make Melody out to be the bad guy. And so when all of these people, like he said to Stormy on that last reunion, when Stormy said that, yeah, Melody's my friend, and he told her retreat now, that was a real statement. That's really something that he wanted her to do. And I'm not saying she listened to him, but we see that happening on the show. I don't know what goes on behind closed doors, and I'm not going to be one of those people to act like everything that we see on TV is real, because I know that it's not. But I tend to believe that these people, even though they're colleagues, they are doing the job, but also Melody doesn't have a relationship with these people. I don't believe that this is one of those situations like Congress where you have the Republicans and the Democrats fighting with each other in public, but in private, they're hanging out with each other, going to dinners together, golfing with each other, all that other stuff. You know what I mean? But in public, they're fighting with each other to keep people's emotions going because it benefits them. I truly see this a lot. And when I saw this situation happen over a week ago and then just seeing how things have been playing out with people being against her, this is, I believe, what Hotel was really trying to play on to try to make Melody out to be the bad guy, because we've often heard that statement said a lot. If someone is having issues with so many different people, it can't be all of the people can't be wrong. It has to be that person. Yeah, that can be true. But in this instance, it's definitely not Melody. Why can't it be? And I've always felt this way because I can speak from my own experience. I've said this multiple times as well. I admire a lot of things about Melody, even though we may not have the same type of characteristics and, in personality. Like, she seems to be an extreme extrovert. I'm more of an introvert. She is very like a social butterfly. I'm not, you know what I mean? And that's okay. It's great to have differences. She expresses herself a lot on social media. That's her outlet, and that's great. That may not be for everyone. I would never get upset with her for expressing herself in the way that she chooses to express herself, because that's just not what I do. I'm more like Beyonce, where I'm just, I'm just not social like that, and it doesn't make me weird or different or it just makes me. But anyway, that also goes into the categories of a lot of the zodiac signs, because she's, I believe, a Scorpio, and I have a cousin who's a Scorpio, and she reminds me a lot of my little cousin. I'm a Virgo. Beyonce is a Virgo. We tend to be more reserved and more introverted and things like that. But anyway, the thing that I've always felt when I've heard that statement, because of the experiences that I have had, especially in business, similar to Melody, because this is business for her. Being on the show, even though it's her life, it's business. When I've had situations where I've connected with people, or I've worked with people, or maybe I've hired people and I may have gotten close to some of these people. And then when you start to see things and you separate yourself, that has been my experience. And because people judge, sometimes people will look at that and say, oh, well, she must have a problem working with people, because why over all of the years, all of these people have come and gone. It's possible that I started to see things within these people that they were exhibiting that I didn't feel was good for my brand and my business, or for me to be around personally, and I decided to let them go, or I allowed them to make the decision to separate themselves because it was not good for me. So when it comes to Melody, why can't it just be possible that she started seeing things that people were exhibiting that she did not want to be in proximity to, that she did not want to have around her, that she did not want to have in her personal space and in her life, and she decided to separate herself? Now, a huge example of that is the Destiny situation. We saw how that played out on the show, and a lot of people agree with Melody, but some people felt like she was cold and, well, why would she just cut Destiny off like that? Or she just used whatever when she was saying that Destiny, she overheard Destiny talking about her to Letitia, who she wasn't in she was not in a good place with at the time. So she just used that as an excuse. Well, listen, if that's what she said she experienced and she realized that and she felt something in her spirit to say, you know what? This isn't a good fit for me. I need to just go ahead and separate myself from this person. And I really don't owe them an explanation as to why I'm separating myself, but I'm just going to go ahead and cut that off and separate myself from that. The Bible says if your right hand offends you, cut it off. Now, that doesn't literally mean you cut your right hand off, right? But what that actually means is that even if it is someone that is deemed as important to you, or they're supposed to be close to you, it could be your own mama. If that person doesn't mean you any good, it's not saying you don't have to have never speak to your mom ever again. But listen, if your mom is not doing the right thing, if they're constantly harming themselves, maybe harming you, harming others, and that could be in so many different ways, you need to cut that off. And that's what the Bible means by that. That's what that scripture actually means. And I just believe that that's something that Melody has done. But because a lot of those people have seen her glow up and they have not been happy about it because of the spirit of jealousy and envy that they have operating within them, that they may not even realize, because a lot of them won't admit it. Because most people say, oh, I'm not a jealous person. You may not be a jealous person, but you have a jealous spirit. And that is what you are exhibiting and exuding. So it's crazy to me when I've seen this play out and I thought about this over and over again. And I said, you know what? I need to talk about this because no, it's not always if this one person is either falling out with all of these people, that means that that person is the problem. No, sometimes that means that this person sees these things within all of these people and they have decided that they are not good for me to be around and I am going to cut that off. So I never felt any type of way when I would see Melody on the reunion stage and she was just sitting pretty and staying silent and not engaging with a lot of these people, because she knew what was being said about her. She knew what was being done, as well as who knows what, God and Jesus and Holy Spirit was revealing to her about these people. And listen, I'm telling you all, because I'm speaking from experience, why would I continue to dwell amongst the den of thieves? No, I'm not. I don't care if you think that I'm supposed to because I'm on this show with you and I have to engage with you. I'm sorry. She's been slowly separating herself and I've not had a problem with that. But when I've seen Stormy just acting cold toward her, like on this most recent episode, and Melody came in to the sip and see that Tiffany was having and she greeted Stormy. Stormy didn't say anything back. It's like, what the heck, and again, she was just trying to even be cordial, even though she was not trying to be friends with Stormy, because she had even said that earlier in the season. And so when this situation came up about a week ago, where Melody was awarded an honorary doctorate and she celebrated it on social media and somebody has something to say about it, I was like, oh my God, this is what I'm talking about. And this is what she has been experiencing. So she was awarded an honorary doctorate. It's a great accomplishment. It's literally a gift. It's a gift. And it's something that she's not the first one to receive it, but the organization chose to honor her in that way. And that is what she received. And so she went to social media and she wrote, about it and shared her thoughts on it. and just giving God the praise and all of that good stuff. And something that she wrote, I guess it ticked somebody off who has been on the OWN network, and she did a hashtag of Dr. Melody Cherie Rogers. So the OMFG Reality TV Instagram blog, they posted, or reposted, I should say, what Melody wrote. And this chick, Symone Redwine, she has been on the OWN network on a show called Ready to Love. And then so she decided to respond to that post on the OMFG Reality TV. And she said, I'm going to start calling myself a doctor since everyone else is. And I actually studied for 3 years to earn mine. Dr. Redwine from now on. And so Melody, she clapped back after it and said, at attorney Symone Redwine, first of all, MS, I don't even know you. But the fact that you decided to come over here and throw shade versus congratulate speaks volumes. I don't know if it's because your fiance/boyfriend or whatever he is be on my DMs, but it's giving not cute/intimidated. Integrity less than that of any doctor. Now move around, fellow OWN colleague at OWN, keep it real. And listen, Melody, I guess she said, I have time today. And sometimes we have those moments where it's like we have time. We all react differently to things. Now, I can understand Melody. Not everyone may do what she does, and that's okay. It was her choice to respond. I'm not going to take that away from her because I may not have, done it in that way. But who knows? You never know how you're feeling in the moment, because I've... Oh my gosh. I'm going to tell you all a little story. And I almost forgot about this. Years ago, I had an administrative assistant that I fired. She was doing a number of things. But anyway, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. But actually, I didn't fire her. I wrote her up because I felt like because of the ego that she had, because I was getting a lot of complaints about her. And I liked her. I cared about her, I should say. I cared about her. And I'm one of those people that I will try to give people a long rope to try to give them opportunities to fix it, make it right, move on. Let's grow up. Let's accelerate and all of these things, right? But I had gotten this one complaint that for me was like the final straw. And I had told my director of operations at the time, I said, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I said, I'm going to go ahead and write her up, but I'm going to have to call her into a meeting with the person that made the complaint about her, because I already know what she's going to do. She's going to lie to me and say that it did not happen. And I need to have her confronted by the person that actually said what she said, because it was really that serious. And I said, I feel that doing this and writing her up in this way, I didn't write her up in front of the person, but I had the meeting in front of the person. And then I met with her separately to go over the write up. I said, I feel like writing her up, she's going to quit. That will be better for me, because as an employer, a lot of times if you terminate someone, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes they're going to go and file for unemployment, and then they want to sit at home and not work and collect off of your dime. Every state is different, but I know in my state, that's the way it works. But if you quit, you automatically disqualify yourself from collecting unemployment benefits. And I just didn't really feel like the headache. I said, doing this, I feel like she's going to quit. But even if she doesn't quit, I already know there's going to be another opportunity to write her up because of how she acts. And then I will have a record of the write-ups. And then if she goes to file for unemployment, I have already got this track record of the write-ups, and they're going to deny her benefits. That's the way it works. So anyway, doing that, wrote her up. But this is someone that I lent money to while she was working here. She never paid the money back. She had written up, I had wrote up the agreement. She was supposed to pay me back. She never paid me back. But that next year, I want to say it was the 1st of January, she was reaching out about her W-2 forms because, they want to go ahead and file to get those tax returns, right? As a company, you have until the last day of January to get W-2 forms out to employees. I don't have to rush to do anything, and my accountant handles that. But anyway, this heifer reached out to me on my personal cell phone to confront me about her W-2 forms and making sure she gets her W-2 forms on time. And at that time, I had time that day because I think I was at the car wash and I was just sitting in the waiting room. And I was so pissed because I was like, the audacity of this chick, she owes me money and she's going to reach out to me on my personal cell phone actually, I think it was the 2nd of January. It wasn't January 1st. The 2nd of January to let me know that she is aware of she's supposed to be getting her W-2 form and blah, 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 blah. And she owes me money. So I went off on her. I really went off on her because I had time that day. So normally that wouldn't be my response, but because I had time that day and she really pissed me off, I just went off. So I understand Melody and her response to Dr. Redwine, and she wasn't rude. She didn't curse her out. She didn't say, look, B, blah, 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 blah. Like she could have, but she didn't. But I thought it was funny because to me, I'm on the outside looking in and it's just like a little bit of entertainment, but it's her real life. But Melody was just having some fun. We all know she's not a doctor. She was awarded an honorary doctorate. Who the freak cares? Okay? But this chick clearly was exhibiting some jealousy because, not I want to say just because, but she clearly was exhibiting jealousy. And then for her to be someone who was on the OWN network as well, she definitely is seeing the glow up of Melody and doesn't like it. And it's like that statement that Nene said to Sheree a long time ago, you're on the wrong team. It's like, girl, instead of being jealous of her, why don't you celebrate her, congratulate her? And I'm not saying you do that to try to get something from Melody, but who knows what could come of it if you were to act in a different way, behave differently, move around differently, because that old saying, you catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar, clearly is not something that she ever learned. But if you couldn't celebrate her or congratulate her, don't say anything at all on social media, at least. Or if you wanted to talk about it and vent, do it in your own quarters to somebody that you know. It's just like absolutely ridiculous. So when Melody responded to that, she had something to say.
Go looking to start drama. I didn't make a comment on your page. I did not at you. It was on a completely different third-party page, and you went starting drama. But I stand by what I said, which is that in the same way that, people in sororities don't want people wearing their letters who didn't earn them, that if you get an honorary degree, that's fine. You're just not supposed to walk around calling yourself Dr. So-and-so. Puffy doesn't call himself Dr. Combs for the very reason. But since you want to take it elsewhere, let's be very clear. You know exactly who I am because your production company wanted to sign me to a production deal for a television show. I declined because of your professionalism and the professionalism of your business. So let's be real. Also, it's real interesting how you be running up Carlos King's butt when you wanted to take this project to Andy and Bravo. You didn't even want to give it to your little buddy. So don't play with me. Play with your kids.
Oh my gosh. And I was laughing as I was listening to it because it's really comical. Melody did not go around calling herself doctor. She wrote it on a social media post on her own page. Someone else reposted it. She has not tried to get jobs as a doctor. And even if she did, let's just be honest, even if she did, in what way does that affect Symone? In what way? And yeah, someone may not like it. If someone's in a sorority and someone is claiming wearing the letters or whatever, don't try to compare the situations, but you wrote that because you were feeling jealous, you were feeling envious, you don't like her because of that spirit of jealousy, and you used that. And of course, you posted it on a completely separate page. She would never have posted that under Melodies, right? So for her to be so oh my God, just ignorant, to say, you know exactly who I am. Even if she did, who cares? The fact of the matter is, she doesn't know you like that. She might know of you, but she's saying, I don't know you. And it's weird to me when people try to say things like, they know me, they know me. What point are you trying to prove? And for her to say, don't play with me, play with your kids, and talking about how she chose not to work with her because of her professionalism. Like, what is she talking about? So again, this thing that Hotel has done to try to disparage her character and to make it seem like Melody is a bad guy. Listen, Melody's personality is her personality. It may not be everyone's cup of tea. And even Melody has said, if someone doesn't like me for whatever reason, that's fine. She's not out here trying to make everyone like her. And I think that that's a great thing, because here's the thing. When you try to please everyone, you please no one. You have to really know who your audience is, your tribe. And she clearly speaks to those people. And I admire that, because that's actually a part of business and marketing. You have to know who your core audience is. And there are going to be people that are not going to like you. There are going to be people that are not going to support you, patronize you, all of those things. I know that. I mean, I've been an entrepreneur since 2006. One of my current businesses I still own and operate. I've been doing so since 2008, 15 years now. I have gotten to that point because I know who my core clients are. You know what I mean? I know who I speak to, and I'm not here for everyone. So I'm not trying to service everyone with the services that we provide. It's just not going to ever be that way, And so for her to make the comments that she made, it was clearly out of jealousy. And it's just sad to see. I'm wondering how she's feeling now that she got that out there, because I'm sure she probably feels a bit ridiculous. Probably won't admit it, but I'm quite sure she probably feels a bit ridiculous because it really wasn't that serious. All Melody did was write hashtag Dr. Melody Cherie Rogers on her social media post. She has not changed, to my knowledge. She has not changed her social media profiles and changed her name to Dr. Rogers or Dr. Cherie or Dr. Melody. Like, what is your problem, lady? It really was not that serious. That all stems from the spirit of jealousy. And so getting back to the point of what I was talking about when I was saying how over the years, people have tried to use that line about if someone has a problem with so many different people, they're falling out with all of these different people, it can't be all of those people. Everyone can't be wrong. Maybe it's you. You are the problem. That's not true all of the time. And Melody has definitely been a clear example of that. And it doesn't happen with everyone at the same time, because people start exposing themselves or things start to become exhibits of exhibit A, exhibit B, C, D, E, F, G, that you start to see that these people are producing, and you pull back. You make the choice and decision. Am I going to stick around this or am I going to pull back? And she has chosen to pull back, draw herself back from those things. And I think that's great, because that is the way that I have lived my life over the years. And, some people may have thought that I was the person with the problem. Well, why, aren't you speaking to that person anymore? And I don't have to tell you that, Because one, I'm not even that type of person to really talk about stuff like that. It's just not worth it. I'm just moving on and I'm living my life. I don't have to come out here and make a statement as to why I have pulled back or drawn myself back from certain individuals. And I've never been the type to be around a whole lot of people anyway. So it really hasn't been that many people. It's just, yeah, I'm not around that person anymore. I don't have this person working in my business anymore. And it was time to end that relationship. And that's just the way it is, you know? So I admire Melody for standing on her laurels when it comes to seeing things exhibited in people and deciding to draw herself back or pull back. And even if something may have been a misunderstanding in the totality of the picture, it doesn't mean, and I'll speak to this with regards to Stormy and, you know, their falling out, because I think a big cause of that was something in the last season when Melody had Stormy over to the house and she was having a conversation with her. And then Destiny played an audio to Hotel, and it sounded like the same conversation that she was having with Stormy. And some people were saying that, well, Melody was insinuating that Stormy recorded her and shared that or whatever, and maybe that's why she drew herself back. Even if that wasn't the case, or even if it was, clearly there have been other things, and that's one of the reasons why she's chosen to pull herself back and draw herself back. And it may not have been in the same way as Destiny, but either way, she made the decision and people have to respect it. And so when people get upset, like Destiny or Stormy, and get upset with Melody because she chose to draw herself back, she's an adult and she can make her own decisions. She really doesn't have to give anyone an explanation as to why I decided to remove myself from your space or allowing you to be in mine. So when people act very immature and childish in that way, I don't have time for it, and I know she doesn't either. But just seeing these things happen, I have to say that I clearly understand Melody, and she is a great example of that statement about someone having a number of different people that they've fallen out with. They must be the problem because everyone else can't be wrong. She's a clear example of that statement not being true. Yeah, that could be true sometimes, but that's not true for everyone. Sometimes it just means that you've seen things, you've stood your ground, you decided to make some decisions and do some things differently. So you're not just continuing to be around these people that you don't see are good for you anymore because of this just being the norm. Well, I have to continue to be around them because this is my girl or whatever. No, I don't have to do anything but pay taxes and leave this earth when it's my time to go, and hoping to God that ain't anytime soon. So anyway, guys, I just wanted to talk about that. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section about all of this. I really appreciate you all being here. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. I'm Beth, just being beautifully honest. So until the next time, I wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.